In the dead of a Kyiv winter, two young hackers sat inside a shadowy apartment, their screens casting an eerie glow as they infiltrated the heart of American finance, the SEC's EDGAR system. Artem Radchenko, a master strategist, and Oleksandr Ieremenko, a ghost in the digital world, weren't chasing gold or guns. They were after something far more powerful, secrets worth millions. By stealing unreleased corporate earnings reports, they turned insider knowledge into instant profit, outsmarting Wall Street and shaking the very foundation of trust in the digital age. But as their wealth grew, so did the hunt. The noose of justice tightened, and a $1 million bounty now hung over their heads. Could they outrun it? This is the true story of cyber deception, massive insider trading, and the global manhunt that followed. Hello and welcome back to another chilling true crime story. In the quiet hum of Kyiv's winter nights in 2016, a digital heist was brewing that would shake the foundations of the U.S. financial system. Artem Vyacheslavovich Radchenko, a 27-year-old tech savant with a penchant for outsmarting systems, sat in a dimly lit apartment, his fingers dancing across a keyboard. His partner in crime, Oleksandr Vitalyevich Ieremenko, a 26-year-old hacker known in underground forums as Zelzirom and Lamarez, was equally engrossed, his screen glowing with lines of code. Together, they orchestrated a scheme so audacious it would target the heart of American capitalism, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's SEC electronic data gathering, analysis, and retrieval EDGAR system. Their goal was to steal sensitive financial data and turn it into millions, exploiting the gap between secrecy and public disclosure. This was no ordinary hack. It was a meticulously planned operation that would expose the vulnerabilities of one of the world's most secure financial databases. Radchenko, the mastermind, was no stranger to the dark corners of the internet. With a lean frame and sharp brown eyes, he had spent years building a network of hackers and traders, each carefully selected for their skills and discretion. His charisma and strategic mind made him a natural leader, but it was his ability to see opportunities where others saw barriers that set him apart. He had recruited Ieremenko, a prodigy in cybersecurity with a reputation for breaching impenetrable systems, after meeting him in a private chat room on the dark web. Their partnership was forged on mutual ambition, to exploit insider information for profit. The SEC's EDGAR system, a treasure chest of corporate filings, became their target after Radchenko realized that its test filings, documents uploaded before public release, contained market-moving data that could be sold or traded for immense profit. Ieremenko's role was to crack the EDGAR system, a task that required both technical brilliance and patience. From February 2016 to March 2017, he deployed a series of sophisticated cyber attacks, phishing emails disguised as internal SEC communications, malware planted on agency servers, and directory traversal attacks to access restricted files. In one instance, on May 19, 2016, a publicly traded company uploaded a test filing to EDGAR at 3:32 p.m. Eastern Time. By 3:38 p.m., Ieremenko had infiltrated the system, exfiltrating the file to a server in Lithuania. Within minutes, traders in Radchenko's network purchased $2.4 million in shares of the company. When the company announced record earnings at 4:02 p.m., the stock soared, netting the conspirators over $270,000 in profits in a single day. This was just one of hundreds of trades that would eventually yield over $4.1 million in illicit gains. The EDGAR system was a goldmine because of its test filings, which often mirrored the final public reports. These documents contained material non-public information earnings reports, mergers, acquisitions that could sway stock prices dramatically. Radchenko and Ieremenko knew that timing was everything. By accessing these filings before they hit the public domain, they could sell the information to traders or use it themselves to buy low and sell high. Their operation relied on a network of intermediaries, traders in the US, Russia, and Hong Kong who executed trades through offshore accounts, and servers in Lithuania and Ukraine to mask their activities. The hackers were paid a percentage of the profits or a flat rate, ensuring their loyalty while keeping the operation compartmentalized. But the real work happened on encrypted laptops and secure servers. He recruited traders with promises of insider knowledge, ensuring they understood the risks and rewards. Each trader received only the information necessary for their role, a tactic borrowed from organized crime to minimize exposure. Radchenko's meticulous planning made the scheme nearly invisible until the SEC noticed anomalies in its systems and exploiting system vulnerabilities. For the SEC hack, he developed a program that automated the extraction of thousands of test filings, allowing the conspirators to process vast amounts of data quickly. His confidence bordered on arrogance. In 2018, he allegedly bragged online about hacking both the SEC and newswires, a rare misstep that caught the attention of U.S. authorities. The scheme's success hinged on speed and secrecy. The conspirators used a server in Lithuania to store stolen data, ensuring it was out of reach of U.S. law enforcement. From there, the information was disseminated to traders who acted within minutes, capitalizing on the narrow window before public disclosure. One trader in Los Angeles, unaware of the data's origins, bought shares based on tips from a Hong Kong-based intermediary. Another in Russia executed trades through a shell company, funneling profits back to Ukraine. The operation was a masterclass in exploiting globalization, data stolen in the U.S., stored in Lithuania, traded in multiple countries, and laundered through offshore accounts. The conspirators' profits grew, but so did the risk of detection. The SEC first detected irregularities in its EDGAR system in October 2016, when unusual traffic patterns suggested unauthorized access. The agency patched the software, but the hackers persisted, attempting to infect SEC computers with malware into early 2017. Stephen Pikin, co-director of the SEC's Enforcement Division, later noted that in-house tools helped identify the breach and the traders involved. The agency's response was swift, but not swift enough to catch the culprits in real time. Radchenko and Ieremenko, both in Kyiv, remained beyond the reach of U.S. authorities, their identities shielded by layers of digital anonymity. The SEC's discovery, however, set the stage for a federal investigation that would unravel the scheme. By late 2018, the U.S. Department of Justice (DOJ) had pieced together enough evidence to act. On January 15, 2019, a federal grand jury in the District of New Jersey unsealed a 16-count indictment charging Radchenko and Ieremenko with securities fraud conspiracy, wire fraud conspiracy, computer fraud, and computer fraud conspiracy. The charges carried severe penalties, with wire fraud alone punishable by up to 20 years in prison and a $25,000 fine. The SEC filed a parallel civil complaint against Ieremenko and others, alleging that the scheme generated over $4.1 million in illegal profits. The indictment detailed how the conspirators used phishing emails and malware to infiltrate EDGAR, highlighting the sophistication of their methods. The DOJ's Computer Crime and Intellectual Property section, alongside the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey, led the prosecution. Trial attorney Arash Hagagat and Assistant U.S. Attorney Matthew Nikic built a case that relied on digital forensics, intercepted communications, and trading records. The investigation revealed the global scope of the operation, with traders in multiple countries profiting from the stolen data. The SEC's civil complaint named additional defendants, including 2 traders, David Kwan and Igor Sabodaka, who settled their charges. The agency claimed that Ieremenko's broader network, including his earlier newswire hacks, had generated $30 million in illicit gains, underscoring his status as a serial cybercriminal. The U.S. government's response extended beyond the courtroom. In July 2020, the U.S. Department of State announced a $1 million reward for information leading to the arrest or conviction of Radchenko and Ieremenko under its Transnational Organized Crime Rewards program. The U.S. Secret Service, which played a key role in the investigation, released wanted posters with the suspects' details. Radchenko, born June 14, 1992, 5'8", 135 pounds, brown hair and eyes. Ieremenko, born July 23, 1991, aliases Zelzirem and Lamares, with unknown height and weight. The posters, available in Russian, were a call to action for international cooperation, as both men remained at large in Ukraine. The scheme's audacity drew attention from global media. Outlets like Reuters, The Washington Post, and Security Week reported on the hack, emphasizing its impact on market integrity. Brian Benskowski, an assistant U.S. attorney, noted that the hackers deprived honest investors of a level playing field. The breach exposed vulnerabilities in the EDGAR system, prompting the SEC to overhaul its cybersecurity protocols. Stephen Pekin assured the public that the exploited vulnerabilities had been patched, but the incident raised questions about the agency's ability to protect sensitive data. Legal scholars like former SEC enforcement officer John Reed Stark debated whether the SEC had the authority to pursue such cases, adding a layer of complexity to the legal battle. Radchenko and Ieremenko's operation was not their first brush with cybercrime. Ieremenko's 2015 indictment for hacking newswire services showed a pattern of targeting financial data. That scheme involved stealing over 150,000 press releases, which were used to generate $30 million in profits. Radchenko, while less prominent in earlier cases, was the organizational linchpin, recruiting hackers and traitors to scale the operation. Their ability to evade capture spoke to the challenges of prosecuting transnational cybercriminals. Ukraine, with its lax extradition policies and thriving hacker community, provided a safe haven, frustrating U.S. efforts to bring them to justice. The conspirators' methods were a blend of technical prowess and psychological manipulation. Phishing emails, crafted to mimic SEC internal communications, tricked employees into revealing credentials. Malware, discreetly installed on agency servers, allowed persistent access to EDGAR. Directory traversal attacks exploited weaknesses in the system's architecture, granting access to restricted files. These techniques, while not novel, were executed with precision, reflecting Ieremenko's expertise and Radchenko's strategic oversight. The use of a Lithuanian server added a layer of obfuscation, making it harder for authorities to trace the data's movement. The financial impact of the scheme was staggering. The $4.1 million in profits from the EDGAR hack was just the tip of the iceberg. The SEC's civil complaint suggested that the broader network, including Ieremenko's earlier hacks, had generated tens of millions. The profits were laundered through offshore accounts, with some funneled back to the hackers as payment. Traders in the network, unaware of the full scope of the operation, acted on tips that seemed too good to be true because they were. The scheme exploited the trust inherent in financial systems, turning insider knowledge into a weapon. The human element of the story was as compelling as the technical details. Radchenko, with his unassuming appearance, was a master of deception, blending into Kyiv's tech scene while running a criminal empire. Ieremenko, younger and brasher, thrived on the thrill of outsmarting systems. Their partnership was a marriage of convenience, driven by greed but tempered by mutual respect for each other's skills. Yet their hubris, particularly Ieremenko's online boasts, proved to be their Achilles heel, drawing the attention of U.S. authorities who were already tracking their earlier crimes. The investigation was a testament to the DOJ's growing expertise in cybercrime. Digital forensics teams analyzed server logs, traced IP addresses, and reconstructed the conspirators' movements. The Lithuanian server, a critical piece of the puzzle, was identified through international cooperation, though accessing it proved challenging. Trading records from brokerage accounts revealed patterns consistent with insider trading, linking the stolen data to specific trades. The SEC's own tools, designed to detect market anomalies, flagged suspicious activity, providing the initial lead that unraveled the scheme. The legal battle was only one front in the war against Radchenko and Ieremenko. The $1 million reward offered by the State Department was a bold move, signaling the U.S. determination to pursue transnational cybercriminals. The Secret Service's involvement underscored the case's significance, as the agency expanded its mission beyond protecting dignitaries to combating 21st-century financial crimes. The wanted posters, circulated globally, were a stark reminder that cybercrime knows no borders, and neither does justice. The scheme's fallout reverberated through the financial world. Investors, unaware of the stolen data, were at a disadvantage, their trades overshadowed by the conspirators' insider knowledge. The SEC's reputation took a hit, as critics questioned how such a breach could occur in a system meant to protect market integrity. The agency's response patching vulnerabilities and enhancing cybersecurity was necessary but did little to restore trust immediately. The case became a cautionary tale about the fragility of digital infrastructure in an interconnected world. Radchenko and Ieremenko remained elusive, their whereabouts unknown. Rumors swirled in Kyiv's tech underground that they had gone deeper into hiding, possibly moving to another country with weaker extradition laws. Their operation, while disrupted, left a lasting impact on how financial institutions viewed cybersecurity. The SEC hack was a wake-up call, exposing the need for stronger defenses against increasingly sophisticated cybercriminals. The traders who profited from the scheme faced their own reckoning. Some, like Kwan and Sabadaka, settled with the SEC, paying hefty fines to avoid further legal trouble. Others, like Pavel Dubovoy, faced default judgments after failing to appear in court, with fines reaching $33 million. The global nature of the scheme made prosecution complex, as authorities grappled with jurisdictions spanning the US, Ukraine, Russia, and Hong Kong. The case highlighted the challenges of enforcing laws in a borderless digital landscape. The story of Radchenko and Ieremenko was a modern-day heist, not of gold or jewels, but of data, the currency of the 21st century. Their ability to exploit the EDGAR system showed the power of information in the wrong hands. For every trade they made, an honest investor lost out. Their trust in the market eroded. The scheme's success was a testament to the conspirators' ingenuity, but also a reminder of the vulnerabilities inherent in even the most secure systems. The U.S. government's response was a blend of legal, financial, and diplomatic efforts. The $2 million combined reward for Radchenko and Ieremenko was unprecedented, marking the first time the Secret Service offered an international bounty for cybercriminals. The DOJ's indictment, coupled with the SEC's civil action, sent a message. No one is beyond the reach of justice, no matter where they hide. Yet the fugitives' freedom underscored the limits of that reach, as Ukraine's geopolitical complexities complicated extradition. The case also sparked a broader conversation about cybersecurity. Financial institutions, already wary of cyber attacks, doubled down on their defenses. The SEC's overhaul of EDGAR was a start, but experts warned that hackers would always find new vulnerabilities. The scheme's reliance on phishing and malware highlighted the human factor in cybersecurity. Employees, often the weakest link, could be tricked into opening the door for attackers. Training and awareness became as critical as technical safeguards. For Radchenko and Ieremenko, life as fugitives was a high-stakes game. The $1 million bounties on their heads made them targets, not just for law enforcement, but for bounty hunters and rival hackers. Their operation, once a source of wealth, now painted a target on their backs. In Kyiv, whispers of their whereabouts circulated, but no one knew for sure. Some said Radchenko had fled to Eastern Europe, while others believed Ieremenko was laying low in a rural Ukrainian village, his hacking days on hold. The SEC hack was a stark reminder of the stakes in the digital age. Data, once a mundane asset, had become a weapon, capable of destabilizing markets and eroding trust. The conspirators' ability to exploit this reality exposed the fragility of systems that underpin global finance. As the DOJ and SEC pursued justice, the case became a symbol of the ongoing battle between innovation and crime, where the line between genius and villainy blurred. In the end, the story of Radchenko and Ieremenko was one of ambition, betrayal, and consequences. Their scheme, born in the shadows of Kyiv, reached across continents, exploiting the trust of investors and the vulnerabilities of systems. The $4.1 million they made was a drop in the bucket compared to the damage they inflicted on market integrity. As they remained at large, the world watched, waiting to see if justice would catch up to the shadow traders who dared to hack the SEC. Thank you for diving into the chilling tale of the shadow traders with us. Here at Vanished Files, we uncover the darkest corners of true crime every single day, bringing you gripping stories of deception, heists, and justice. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of cybercrime, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Vanished Files for a new true crime story every day. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, and join our growing community of crime enthusiasts. Until next time, stay curious, and we'll see you in the shadows with another story from Vanished Files.